John here, and today we're going to talk about Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and this is for John McKinney. Thank you for the request. Yeah, this is a 2001 animated film, and I saw this back in the day in the theater, and this was the first time for me revisiting this film in well over 20 years, 22 if you want to be exact. And this is a really good one. Nowadays, I don't know how many people talk about this film. I know that over the years, it's gained a bit of a following here, and I do think, rewatching this again, I do think it's very underrated. Probably one of the more underrated animated films. But the plot here to the film, so you have our main character Milo Thatch, who's voiced by Michael J. Fox, and he leads this group of archaeologists and explorers, and they go on this expedition in search of Atlantis, and they go on to this big submarine ship called the Ulysses, and they go deep into the ocean, and when they find Atlantis, their expedition goes from exploring Atlantis to protecting it, because you have this character Rourke, voiced by James Gardner, rest in peace. He's this general character that wants a certain thing, and basically it's up to Milo Thatch, Michael J. Fox, and the crew to again stop this character of Rourke and protect Atlantis, and that's the story here to this movie. Now you got two directors here, so you got Gary Trisdale and Kirk Wise. Both of them had worked on Beauty and the Beast and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I haven't seen Hunchback since elementary school, so yeah, I haven't seen that in a good while. But the voice cast here, Michael J. Fox is Milo Thatch. I thought he was right for the character. The way he plays the character is very energetic. And the look of the character, with the glasses and the hair, and he's, you could say, more of a nerdy indie. But again, Michael J. Fox, does a really nice job here. And you got some other actors too here in the cast. The character of Rourke is voiced by James Gardner. You got the character of Cookie, voiced by Jim Varney. Rest in peace to James Gardner and Jim Varney. And I believe, from what I've read, because Jim Varney, passed away a year before, he was able to see a little bit of footage of him providing the voice, and it's one of the last things that he did. And you also have John Mahoney as a character in here, and I believe he was on Frasier. Phil Morris as the voice of Sweet, Joshua Sweet, who was like the medic. And the one thing that I really enjoyed here about these characters, they were dimensional. For an animated film, like, every character had a personality. Every character had, was dimensional. And I really enjoyed that. Everybody in the crew, Milo Thatch, again, Michael J. Fox does a nice job, but you got other characters in here, that really complement the movie, because every character was different. Every character had a personality. Every character was dimensional. And you also have the character of Vinny, voiced by Don Novello. Now I'm like, I recognize that voice. I know he's done more stuff, but he had a bit part in Casper. If you remember the scene with the priest that goes into the house, a piece of cake, that guy. Yeah, he's the voice of Vinny. In this movie, he's the demolitions expert. Leonard Nimoy, he's the voice of the Atlantean king. And I'm like, why do I recognize that voice? And then later on, when I was, looking up information, it was Leonard Nimoy. So, and you also have this character, Packard, this older woman, and I recognized her voice. And I'm like, why does her voice sound familiar? The voice of Packard is voiced by Florence Stanley. If you remember back in the day, that TV show Dinosaurs, she was the voice of Grandma Ethel. And I'm like, okay, I've heard her voice before. So again, you have a really good voice cast here of Michael J. Fox and James Gardner. Jim Varney, rest in peace. And rest in peace to James Gardner. They are Leonard Nimoy, rest in peace. Phil Morris. I think Phil Morris, if I'm getting this right, I think he was the character of Jackie on Seinfeld. Was it Jackie Childs? Is that him? Again, Florence Stanley. You have this other character, Mole. That was a fun character. He's voiced by Corey Burton. So again, everybody does a good job, providing the voices. The score is really good by James Newton Howard, who worked on other stuff, like The Fugitive and, many more projects. But I thought it was a really nice score, especially the scene when, the big ship is descending. And I really thought it really captured the adventure aspect of the movie, when the Ulysses is, going into the ocean and descending, and you got that great score. And, it's well animated. I mean, and that's the thing too, watching this movie again, that the animation is very vibrant. The colors are very captivating, and it really pops out throughout the movie. And from what I understand, there's, with this film, there's a little bit of CG mixed in with the animation. Like there's some digital effects shots in here, but you also have, traditional animation. And again, I thought the animation here really popped throughout the movie, and the attention to details. I mean, especially with the ship and, the different parts of the ship, and when they get to Atlantis, and even like the journey to Atlantis, that was a lot of fun. And again, I talked about, the characters. Every character had a personality, and I really enjoyed that. That these characters, everyone was different. Everyone, every character on this crew, was an expert in some kind of field, whether it be a medic or, demolitions expert, mechanic, what have you. The whole sense of adventure. And it almost feels like an Indiana Jones type movie, with, like, if it was an animated film, like you could say, really this is kind of like an Indiana Jones movie for kids. And again, I talk about, the journey to Atlantis. And, when they get to Atlantis, a lot of beautiful animation here with the way that Atlantis looks, and, the character of the woman in the film. I don't know why I'm forgetting her name. Let me look this up, because I'm going to beat myself if I don't. Not in that kind of way, but I'm just going to, like, if I can't remember, I'm getting bad at remembering stuff. I don't know what it is. I'm going to find out now. Let me see. What is her name? Yeah, Kida. Princess Kida. Voiced by Cree Summer. And I thought she did a good job. Yeah, like I said, if I have a hard time, like, I just watched the film a few days ago, but, why am I forgetting stuff that bad? But, yeah, the princess in the film, Princess Kida, I thought she was a good character, and, again, the whole, Atlantis world, I thought it was really well done. And, kind of leading up to the third act of the film, I thought it was fun. And, when this film came out back in 2001, from what I understand, it was a bit of a disappointment, because I think the budget was around 100 million. And at the time, this was at a time when you had Shrek coming out and Tomb Raider. And I think for me, or I think, from what I gather, it was kind of like a weird time, like a transition, like a time of transition, from animated films to where you got this movie Shrek coming out, and this is a different type of animation. And I think that, maybe it was just bad timing, when this film came out, because, I think the critics were kind of mixed on it. But over the years, it's gained a bit of a following. I'm glad that over the years, people have come to, embrace the movie. They talk about the film a little bit more. I mean, I don't know if nowadays they talk about the film as much, but, I'm just glad that over the years, people have, talked a little bit more. They've given this film a bit more love and what have you. So, yeah, I think maybe it was just bad timing, when the film came out, not really setting the box office on fire. But I think it was just a time of transition, and they were transitioning from, traditional animation to, what you would see with Shrek and many more films. And I know it's different companies and studios and stuff, but it was fun to see in the theater, and it was fun to revisit the film again. And out of 5 stars here, I'm going to give Atlantis: The Lost Empire 4 out of 5 stars. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.